All right, everybody, it's the ID84 show live here from quarantine on a special early edition 2-hour special because we have a special guest coming from the other side of the pond live tonight where the time zone difference is quite the differential. Down below Adam, we have Mr. Kowalsky. How are you, sir?
Good at you guys.
Doing wonderful. This is your third time on the show, I believe.
That's true. This is the third time.
Yeah.
That's true.
First time via Zoom. And always, we have to the left of me, Adam the Mallett, and directly below of me, Mr. Ryan Glover, from our respective studios. Yes, third time on the show. First time you were on the show was, I believe, 2011 or 12 or something.
That's true.
That was
yeah.
That was at the old studio. That's the one we had. It was like that sketchy ass studio. We had to walk up the alleyway, go upstairs.
I remember that. And I applied to to join the show by Craigslist or something like that.
Yes, I believe that is correct. That's how I met these two fine gentlemen below and to the right of me from the list of Craig.
But actually, I have a question for you guys. Craigslist still exists in America? I'm not sure. Really?
Well, unless you're looking for a hooker, because they frown upon that. That used to be the primary reason anyone used the Craigslist. Wow. I found that on a personal ad.
That was like 11 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Just think, if it wasn't for Mr. Craig and his list, we wouldn't have this montage of gentlemen here right now, all put together in this one Zoom. Mr. Kowalsky, how are things out in, you're in Paris, correct? Paris, France?
Yes. Yeah.
How long have you been out there for?
Well, I moved here like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, Europe is nice. It's another vibe.
How do you feel about the French? Because I hate them. I am not a fan of the French. I'm really not. Like, I am not prejudiced or racist against anybody, but I am biased. I'm French Canadian. I'm better. Okay. I am biased against the French though. Because out of all my world travels, I would say the French have been the most pretentious that I have run into, and I can name 5, 6. I'm not talking about like one occasion. I can name like 5, 6, 7 instances where a person from France just completely, I felt, was a complete.
No. It's true. I'm coming from Latin America. I'm coming from Costa Rica, and of course, there's like a cultural difference.
Yes.
But once you get to know them, they are really nice. Just need to get to know them.
All right, I'll let it fly. All right.
French Canadians are the same way though. When you first go up to Montreal, they hate you because you're American, and then you start shooting the shit of them a little bit. And we talked about this the other day. I don't know about the real French, but I know the French Canadians are they would insult you in the most polite way. Like I was at a Bruins Montreal game, and they were insulting me, but it sounded so nice, and I was just so gracious to be able to take part in such a an insult, if you will. But so Costa Rica, the last time we talked, we were live in studio, I think 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and then I was back in 2011, 2012. And you were on a tour, and you were stopping in some places in the United States along the way, and you were in Boston, I guess, both times.
That's true.
How did you end up in France, of all places? Like, just randomly, or do you have a band there that you've been working with?
No. Actually, it was like, I started to tour here more in Europe, and and then I met a girl around here, so then.
There it is.
The ladies. You're settling yourself down. A world traveler, you're settling yourself down, and it is always a girl that gets you where you get to go. One place or another. Someone's moved. A majority of people at least once for a lady. So good for you.
Sure.
Nice French girl. Is she French as well, or is she a foreign from the country of France?
Yeah, Frenchy, froggy girl. What can we do? But guys, it's I guess life is going to take you in different directions. You know, I'm from Costa Rica to Boston to France
Yeah.
to Europe. And if you feel well, wherever you are, why not? You know, stay there.
Do you go home to visit often? How often do you go home to visit? Do you still have family in Costa Rica?
Yeah, of course. I go to Costa Rica every year.
Yeah.
And actually, I was there since March to July because, you know, I was trapped there, you know, because there's no flights, nothing. So I stayed there during all these, you know, COVID virus thing, you know, but it was good. It was good to be back, you know, at home in my neighborhood, even if we have a lockdown, but it was good.
Yeah.
But I go to Costa Rica every year. Costa Rica is great.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Everything I see, every time I see pictures, it looks beautiful.
Oh man, Costa Rica is great. The Caribbean coast, Pacific coast, and you know, it's great. You know, the people's really nice there. Yeah, you guys should go.
What's COVID-19 doing out there in France? Are you guys still locked down over there, or had they loosened it up a little bit?
Well, actually, here they had like a serious lockdown for 2 months. Like nobody can go out or anything like that. But after like the COVID almost disappeared and nobody hear about it, okay, and you release again all the people. But now the thing's coming back.
Yeah. Oh man.
So looks like we're gonna have a second wave, and especially here in Paris, looks like we're gonna have another lockdown. But it's pretty strict, you know. If you go out, they give you a ticket, you know, for like 150, 130 euros if they find you.
Oh wow! So this must be killing your industry. I mean, you're a professional musician. Venues are closed, I'm assuming, right? No one can go out. So what have you been doing? Like, how do you survive it?
Yeah, well, actually, I do more like virtual shows and stuff like that. But other than that, now no live shows, no live tours. All my shows in 2020 got canceled.
Jesus.
But actually, you know, you need to find another ways. I do a lot of like virtual shows on my page and stuff like that, and people seem to like it. And yeah, we're hoping that in 2021 we're gonna get back and start to play more concerts and all that.
Yeah. Virtual show is going to be interesting though, because so a couple of weeks ago we talked about how I did virtual stand-up comedy via Zoom.
Yeah.
And part of playing music and part of, you know, doing comedy and stuff like that is you work in the crowd, right? So you get a feel of the energy in the room and stuff. And if you're sitting in your bedroom and you're playing the guitar to a bunch of people, nevertheless, are watching, but the energy level seems a little bit different, I would think. This has affected you at all, or have you been able to kind of adapt and just kind of go with it?
Yeah, you know, it's different because in the end you're alone in one room and then you're broadcasting that thing, and it's like kind of weird, and then you gotta read in the screen what the people saying. But actually, it's a new world. It's a new world we're living, and I guess we just need to adapt to that thing. But it's kind of weird. Yeah, but I liked it. You know, it's
different.
What we have now.
I'm sure your live.
Nothing, at least.
You know, you're right. Your live shows are a little more adventurous than the live shows I put on. I go in my basement and I build a Lego set on Instagram in front of a bunch of probably 8-year-olds. And I get about maybe 4 or 5 people to watch me build a Lego set live, and I work off their energy, I guess. So I understand when you're coming back with the comments. It's very hard to keep up with the comments when people are writing stuff to you, you know. But hey, you have quite the fan base, though, right? Because the first time I met you, I was jealous as hell because you were just traveling. You were going from this place to this place. You were literally all over the world, just traveling, making a living at it. It's an incredible lifestyle.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it just now it just seems like, now it's on a standstill, right? Because now you can't go anywhere if you wanted to because no one, you can't leave. It's stuck.
Yeah. You just need to adapt, to this new situation. I guess all these things gonna come back at some point, but
yeah.
What we need to do is just.
I'm gonna say to do what you do and like jump all over the place and travel all this, and then for the love of music, you have to be like so passionate. I don't think I've ever been passionate about anything I've ever done in my life that much. So that I'm quite jealous of that. Like that's crazy. Like,
Honky Holocaust. You weren't passionate about Honky Holocaust. I mean,
why do you keep bringing that movie up? Why do you keep bringing it up?
It's a great movie, and it doesn't get the recognition it should. You were the star of that movie.
It doesn't. No, I was not. I think I broke a record though for most extras you could play in a film. Well, we don't need to talk about that.
Low budget movie. Damn, man. So your girl's from France, and did she go on tour with you when you eventually do travel around, or does she kind of stay put and kind of keep the homestead?
No. Oh no. When I go on tour, I go with my band. No. She can't come.
I think David Lee Roth.
No. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, but it's cool, you know. You need to somebody who supports you when with your passion, with your career.
Yeah.
And it's not easy because music is very difficult. You know, it's there's a lot of competition and it's difficult to make a career in music.
Oh, hell yeah.
But you just need to get push and believe in yourself, and then something gonna happen at some point.
And you got to continue to like reinvent yourself too, to kind of keep up with like trends and times too, right? So like where you started off, 10, 15 years ago, you're different. You probably have the same soul and the same base, but you've had to adapt over time, right?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, you were changing with time, depending where you are. You know, when I was in America, early I was playing more punk rock, and then here in Europe, I adapt my music to something more reggae vibe, and that's what I'm doing more now. You know, and I guess that will keep interesting. Interesting in my music, and keep my people interested in what I'm doing, because I'm always changing and trying to adapt my music to modern things or something new.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So how's your French? Because obviously you've immersed yourself into a French speaking country.
Sure.
And I'm assuming Spanish is probably that's what they speak in Spanish in Costa Rica, right? Am I
exactly. That's my main
okay.
language.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what they're speaking. So I'm assuming that's your first language. You speak English very well. But how did you does your girl speak English, or she speaks Spanish, or is there constantly like just a lot of yelling and like holding up objects?
How's that go?
No, actually, if you want to live in France, you need to learn French. It's like if you want to get like your green card or whatever you want to get to live in France, you need to have like a French, level to speak, at least to understand. But in the beginning it was difficult for me because it's a tough language, guys. Oh man, it's not easy. Even for me, that kind of like Spanish and French are similar, but no way, man. French is different than anything. And I studied French, I went to classes and I study, and now I feel okay. I feel pretty comfortable. I speak with the people, and I guess that they understand me. They always ask me, "Hey, where are you from? What's that accent coming from?"
Yeah.
Well, same thing that they ask me in America all the time. Hey, where are you from?
Yeah. It's going to be very unique speaking French with your Costa Rican twang. I took classes. I took Italian classes when I was in high school, and my Boston accent pretty much butchered the hell out of the language. I was pronouncing things that are incorrect. I was asking to use toilet paper for lunch, because I couldn't pronounce things correctly. But damn, so it's crazy. So that's it. I mean, that's an interesting concept. I know that like in Canada, you have to learn French and English because it's both their national languages. So it makes sense in France that you would have to adapt to learn the language. I was in Paris once for it was Thanksgiving, and American Thanksgiving. They're not too fond of Thanksgiving over in Paris, from what I understand.
No.
So I was over there. actually I had a good time. We were there for like 3 or 4 days, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the fact that I could walk into a grocery store and buy a bottle of wine for like €3.50, and then just
Oh man, and a
get
good
hammered
one,
for nothing.
and a good bottle of wine.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yes. I went to a. I recently just went back to my pictures and tried to figure out where the hell I was. There's a sports bar I went to. It was great because so you're 5 hours ahead of Boston. So at midnight, France time, the Boston Celtics were on live in Boston. So I watched the Celtics game live at the bar. It was over around 3:00 in the morning. And I go, "Are you closing?" They're like, "No, we're staying open," because the Lakers game was going to be the next game live on the West Coast. I left that bar when the sun came up as the Lakers game was over. It was the most amazing experience ever. I mean, that was my fondest memory of France. Not the Louvre, not the Eiffel Tower. Not almost getting hit by a car over near the Arc de Triomphe. It was basically, the best was I don't speak any French, nor do I understand it very good. I was with my sister and a couple friends. We actually ended up on the wrong subway multiple times, going in the complete opposite direction that we needed to. It was quite the. And then the subways they stop running like what 11 p.m. like 11:30, right? Don't they stop running fairly early?
Yeah, depends on the day.
So I'm panicking. I don't know how I'm going to get back. We're sitting there because this is before Uber. Uber wasn't invented yet. This is 12 years ago. And I can only imagine having a conversation. So we flagged out a cab. So the guy pulls up. And how everyone in Europe drives those like smaller vehicles, right? And there's 4 of us. So we were like, oh, we need a ride. He had a trombone in his front seat that he had to put in his trunks to make room for me to sit there. It was a very interesting experience, and I will never forget it.
Definitely. Hey, look, Paris. Paris is full of music. Paris is it's a great city to come and visit. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Even if the French gonna be tough sometimes with the tourists.
It's tough love. I think anyone even Bostonians are rough against the tourists too. But once you warm up to, it's nice. Maybe Adam, you just need to get warmed up by a French person. You know what I mean? Maybe
the women are all right. I haven't had any problems with any French women. Their accent will win you over. They'll get you. It's the guys.
French women.
Those are the people I've had a problem with.
Oh yeah, no, they're lovely. They're lovely ladies, and French Canadians from like Quebec, or even
they're funny. They're more funny, and at least they were kicked out for being rebellious. That's more so.
That is true. They are a rebellious type. The red light district in Paris. I did not partake in any of the arrangements there. We did walk through, and it's everything you think it would be. Literally, you walk into these places, and there's a menu on the wall that says what the prices are for what you do. And you're a man in a relationship. I'm sure you don't partake in the red light district anymore.
No.
Except when you're in Amsterdam, right? That's the only thing. The red light special.
Amsterdam, yeah. Amsterdam is different. That's another world. Yeah.
It's that different country, right? You're in a different country. You can do whatever you want, right? Right, Adam?
That's true. Well, it's funny because like 5 minutes ago you mentioned Eiffel Tower, and I started thinking of certain things, and I was like, oh, that's right. We're not talking to somebody in that business this week.
No, we had a very lovely porn star on a couple weeks ago. Was it Camilla? It was Camilla, the one who was talking about the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. Yes. And she was talking to us about how she likes to do said Eiffel Tower in the sexual manner, not the great architectural sculpture that's in downtown Paris. The Eiffel Tower is pretty impressive. I'm sure you've been there a few times by being there.
Yeah, sure. It's beautiful.
Yeah. If you can't make it out there, people, to the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas, I believe, is about half the size of the real Eiffel Tower. And
wow.
Yeah, and if you really, really don't want to go out to the West Coast, you can go to Disney World in Epcot, and that Eiffel Tower is like a quarter of the size of the real Eiffel Tower. So, and then if you can't make it to those 3 places, check out a porn when someone's doing the Eiffel Tower, then you'd be all set.
Definitely. No shit. No way.
So while on tour, I'm sure you've been. So what countries have? I guess you could say what haven't you been? I'm sure you've been to Italy, Germany. You've been probably all around, right, during the tour. And so you said you were gonna do a lot of touring over there. What drew you over there? Did you have a huge fan base over there in Europe that kind of was demanding your presence, or did you just want to try to tap into a new region and kind of see if you could spread the music a little bit?
Yeah, well, depends, especially in Germany, like the southeast of Germany, we have like good fan base, you can call, like they come to our shows and all that. But even so in Paris, of course, because I'm local there, you know, I have a lot of friends bringing friends. But in other countries, I'm trying, you know, to get to there, especially like in reggae shows. To Spain, we play in Spain this time. We play in Romania once too. That was great. Netherlands, Amsterdam's great. Belgium, so England, London, and even in other towns in England, that was great.
All right, I got one question for you. Where is a place, you're saying all these places are great. Where is a place you would be like, I'm never going back? Come on, it's got to be one. It's got to be one. Come on.
I'm never going back to, oh man.
You're like, I just didn't like it. It might not have been bad, it just wasn't for you. You just didn't feel it. It just didn't connect.
No. One time I played in like in a town called Dijon. It's like the mustard of Dijon. It was, oh man, it was like a punk venue, and all the beds were like full of vomit and all that. It was like, come on, where are we gonna? It was amazing, man. The bathrooms were like Turkish bathrooms, and then it was just a hole there.
Party.
Yeah, you need a shower after one of those shows, right?
Oh no, it was like, man, how are we gonna, you know, do something there in that bathroom or sleep in that bed full of vomit?
Oh God.
No.
We'll
never go back there.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a potty right there, right?
I think like on the episode of The Simpsons where like Bart, like, you know, gets sent to France, that's where he goes. The Dijon, like he's like like a winemaking town. He like
it's a nice town. We just play in a punk venue where I guess that's the vibe, you know, when you play in a punk venue. But oh man,
when you oh go ahead.
Oh no! Another time I have to sleep in a venue where they have an aquarium. Like, this is my bed, and you know, beside the bed was like an aquarium full of crocodiles. Believe me, guys.
That's awesome.
You're like Captain Hook. A fucking aquarium full of crocodiles. Oh fuck.
Crocodiles, and then the owner of the venue grabbed me one crocodile, and he said, "Hey, don't put your finger anything between his jaws, because he's gonna just smash." And it was a baby crocodile, and he was like doing like. But I would go back to that place because, you know, he has some interesting animals.
Yeah, I'm sure. Does he have a tiger too that he keeps there? Then he tries to have threesomes with girls. He kind of brings the tiger cubs out.
It's like Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic, yeah. Like, Jesus, crocodiles.
Crocodiles, believe. In a bed, like in an aquarium, just beside the bed. That was amazing.
I'd be afraid to sleep. I'm scared enough walking by an aquarium full of lobsters, and they have the little rubber bands on there. Never alone a crocodile that could. My turtle sneaked out of the tank once before, so I would think that the crocodile could do such a thing too. And you wake up, and you're a musician. You need your limbs. You know what I mean? You lose a finger, it's all over. You know what I mean?
It's all over.
Yeah,
it's all over.
I don't know what you do. You can't have like a mechanical hand, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you could.
We need our fingers for sure.
Maybe you could duct tape a drumstick to a knob, a nib or something like that. You can stop playing the drums or something. I don't know. You really limited to lose a hand. Jesus.
No way.
When you tour, are you guys on a bus or do you kind of just go in a van and drive around and stay at hotel rooms and stuff for the most part?
No, but just depends. Sometimes we are traveling separate. Sometimes we travel in a bus. Sometimes we travel in a van.
Yeah.
I have like a minivan too, so I travel with my minivan with all the instruments and all that. It's kind of like
wow. Jesus.
It's an interesting situation.
Yeah. Do you need a roadie? I can see if I can take some time off from my wife and kid for a little while and kind of tour Europe with you for a little while. So I'll see if she gives me permission. Should be a wild adventure. I could drive your minivan for you.
Sure, man. I always get stopped by the police all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because I have like a Rasta colors in my van, and you know all the windows are black.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're thinking, man, but I always got stuff. Hey, man, they always ask me the same. Do you smoke anything?
Yeah.
Do you have any drugs in your van? Goes, no, it's full of instruments. You want to check it out?
Like the Scooby-Doo. What's the Scooby-Doo's van called? The Time Travel or something like that?
Something like that.
I see the Bob Marley shirt, and it makes me wonder, like, you know, what is like the attitude on like marijuana in Paris? Like, can you smoke marijuana legally?
Yeah, it's I would say it's like not legal, but yeah, you smell it in the streets. It's pretty open. In Europe, in general, it's pretty open. It's not like in America that they're gonna put you in jail, or you know, it's not like that here.
Yeah,
it's pretty open.
Almost decriminalized, right? You know.
Kind of, yeah. You will say kind of. The problem is when you are, you know, driving or stuff like that. Of course, they get more strict. But if you're on the street smoking or something like that,
yeah,
I don't think that's trouble.
Last thing you want to do is get thrown in the Dijon jail, right in the middle of France for having a J on you.
Oh no, you don't want that.
Oh, no, not at all. Jesus Christ, that's wild. I mean, is it the adventures of a rock star? I wish I was a rock star at some point in my life. You know, just for the experience, even if it's just a roadie. You know what I mean? Like roadies have stories and stuff like this. Like, you know, the ladies and just the crap places you play. And when you were in Boston, where did you play here? Was it the Middle East?
Yeah, I play at the Middle East. I play at the Paradise too.
Okay,
yeah. Wow.
I play at House of Blues.
I love too. Paradise. It's a great venue there.
But they told me they're gonna close the Middle East, right? Or not? Not yet.
I think it already closed. They were planning on it, and then I think some developer bought the land. It was you know it as well as I do. It was a death trap. If there was ever a fire, you're donezo in that place. I mean, you're in a basement with one stairway going up, you know, and yeah.
Oh, the last time I was there was like a huge fight. It was crazy. Like,
all right.
It's on the way, man. That's crazy.
Adam and I, we used to go to the Middle East all the time. You remember the old radio station? The second station you came to was down the street from the Middle East. It was probably like a half mile away.
Yep.
Adam and I used to go there all the time, and we used to have a few cocktails prior, post show, or whatever like that. And there was some characters, like the regulars that would go to that bar were very, very interesting people.
It was a dump, but I liked it. You know what? It was a dump, but it felt like a bar. It felt like an actual place. You know what I mean? It was a fucking dump, though.
I wouldn't eat there, but I would totally.
No, God. Yeah. No. I think I'd rather eat at that strip club in Florida.
The Middle East had this bathroom that the door didn't lock properly. So it had like one toilet in there, and there were multiple times I was taking a shit, and that door got whipped open for me. For everyone to see me just sitting there on my throne. Rest in peace, Middle East. It's a shame because I feel like a lot of the good music venues, at least in the Boston area, got kind of closing up because. Not that there's no demand for it, because there's certainly a demand for it. I think you could fill those places any given night. I think it's the owners are getting greedy, and they know that they can get so many $1 million for their building that it's not worth to keep the music alive. And then you even build a new venue, it's not the same. It just doesn't have the same feel to it. You know, you need the dirt, you need the grime, you need the history, you know, you need the smells. You know,
you need a good dive. Everyone needs a good dive bar every once in a while.
Yeah, man. So. Did you have any Boston gigs planned, or up for the next year, or are you kind of just doing the Europe thing and then gonna kind of make your way back over to the States?
No, actually, I also go back to Boston every year. You know, I wanted to go back this year, but of course, because of this situation, I couldn't go back. And about to also to finish a new album that my producers and my engineers are in Boston. They're still in Boston.
Oh, sweet.
They play with Boston bands, you know, Big D and the Kids Table, or I don't know if you guys know the Big D and the Kids Table.
Oh yeah, Big D. Yeah.
Big D.
Big D, huh?
So I know two Big D's. I know Big D and the kids table. They're good, and I know Big D. It's a long story. It's a crazy night. that was Adam's nickname in high school, Big D.
I don't know if you guys know these reggae shows called the Reggae Takeover in Boston.
No.
They do like reggae shows every Wednesday in Cambridge, actually near the Middle East.
Okay.
And yeah, they invite me to play, and I wanted to do it this year, but looks like I don't know. Once this virus is gone and all this, I'm gonna go back to Boston and yeah, play some shows there with these guys, the Reggae Takeover. A couple reggae shows.
We'll be there. I'm telling you.
You invited? What the hell?
I know. I'm inviting myself. I'll be there. I can guarantee that right there.
No, I will invite you guys for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Better. That's right.
So you play with different bands, different places. I remember when we first did the show together, you had a group band you were playing with, and then you had another band. Where do you find the musicians to play with the bands? Do you kind of just put an ad out there, or do you kind of like know through connections and through like the whole music world?
No. I already have my musicians in Boston.
Yeah.
Actually, when I get there, I just send them my music, and actually they are recording in my album and all that. So I just ask them, hey guys, let's play this show. Or
so you got people in different places. So you can go to one place and have have a band that's familiar with you, ready to go, and you just kind of bounce around. That's pretty convenient. I mean, you pretty much it's cheap too, because you can fly off on a whim and just be like, hey, I'm just heading to Nebraska because I got a band out there that plays a killer reggae. Not that I don't know if a lot of people listen to reggae in Nebraska in particular.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they are, right? So who knows?
No. For good at that, because sometimes you want to have your band and it's like solid and you guys are practicing all the time together. But in the other hand, these open the world and it's easier. If I go to Boston, the guys are there. If I'm going to Los Angeles, the guys are there and I can play with them. So that makes the things easier. And I am the guy traveling and the guys stay there. So we just play together, make some rehearsals, and we just put it together and do it. You
seem like a very, what's the word? Virtual musician that can kind of adapt to his environment and kind of go with it. So.
Very positive.
He is very
positive.
The positivity,
sure.
it's out of this world. It's COVID, we're locked down, I can't play music in the pub, but I could do this, or I'm gonna go this. It's good for you.
Yeah.
It's tough to stay positive in these times. It really is. I mean, it's the world we live in these days, But so you said you would like to play we would like you to play a couple songs for us tonight.
It will be a pleasure, sure.
Let's do it. Let's you get the ukulele ready to go. Let's rock out. Before you stop playing, how can people get you music? How's that? We would be able to download and buy some of your albums.
For sure. Mr Kowalsky, and then iTunes and Spotify and Amazon, whatever you guys want, you can find my albums there. And actually, a new album is coming. Mr Kowalsky, MrKowalsky, Mr Kowalsky.
Beautiful. All right, Mr. Kowalsky, the mic is yours. Play us a tune.
Nice. This is a song we wrote actually after show. We did like an after show party in Frankfurt.
Okay.
And we played this concert and it was nice. And then I don't know, somehow everyone come to our hotel for the after party. So we had in our room like 40 people, and everybody were like drinking and doing. And when I woke up, it was like full of sleeping between empty bottles. I was like sleeping like that in empty bottles. So I make a song about that. And the name of the song is "Sleeping Between Empty Bottles."
Here we go. All right.
Here we go. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, Tell me, baby, how I end up here. Baby, how I end up here. Sleeping between empty bottles. Sleeping between empty bottles. All right. Going over in a foreign land. We just played a creepy show. Everybody wants some more apple. Oh, girl, we have to learn to see the words. Boy, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. All right. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. We don't want, we don't like cocaine. Nothing's dying, I will take it easy. All the people in the room, that was it. Through the rock and roll party. Baby, how I end up here. Baby, how I end up here. All right. Sleeping between empty bottles. Sleeping between empty bottles. All right. Sleeping between empty bottles. Sleeping between empty bottles. Oh, whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo. Whoa, yo, yo, yo.
Damn. Empty bottle. I gotta tell you, that's a song anyone can relate to. I think. Even
You're in a good mood, though. You put me in a good mood. I gotta say, you're very good. Your energy is even through this. I can feel your energy. It's good. I like it.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
What's great about that song? Anyone can relate to. Even my 9-month-old son can relate to that song because he's woken up with empty bottles and is next to him. So whether you're a little kid or a big kid, you can have it. Love it. I love it.
It was guys, believe me, it was probably like, I don't know, 40, 50 people in this, in our room. And then I was like, no, man, I'm so tired. I can't sleep. And I sleep and they still were doing the party and everything. And then I woke up. It was like, what is all this, man? All empty bottles around me. That was amazing. Amazing. Only on tour.
You're going to be hearing that song. You're going to be hearing, you just be tapping your foot. You're going to be at work. You're like, empty ball. Can you get that song? You can get that song on iTunes, I'm assuming, right?
Sure. iTunes or Spotify, whatever you guys.
And you told us, you told us a story about Mr Kowalsky, where you got the name from. Last time we talked, we have the new listeners. Can you give us a little idea where the name came from?
Sure. Mr Kowalsky is just a joke. It was like actually I played in another band before, and one of the name of the tunes was Mr Kowalsky.
Okay.
And we called like this. It was a joke to one of the guys in the band because he was dating an old girl, a girl without hair. So I don't know why we called him Mr Kowalsky. Stupid kids who were like punk kids, and I don't know. And we called him like that. And I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna grab this for my stage name. Why not? But that doesn't make any sense, okay.
Those are the best band names. It sounds like it should be like an old science teacher at high school, right? Mr. Kowalsky.
Oh, it does.
But not as fun as you guys. Absolutely. I think you have time for one more song if you want to play. Maybe something you're working on, something that maybe
Of course. Of course, you guys want to hear another one.
We'd love to, yeah.
Do it.
Actually, this is another song that I wrote. It's about Paris, and it's about the chaos that is happening in the world right now, and it's in French and English in the same time, and it's about all this chaos and missing somebody when you're on tour, missing somebody that you love. Hey baby, what we gonna do with this chaos in the world? So it's about that. This
is how you get laid. You speak French, English, and Spanish, and you play guitar. if you can't get your pickle wet, I don't know what someone's problem is if they can't do all that. You know, good for you.
I'm trying, you know, we're just trying our best.
Doesn't look like you have to try. It looks like it's a nap. You look like Michael Jordan out there.
The name of this tune is Chaos Mon Amour.
All right. Take it away, sir.
And it goes like, oh no, chaos mon amour. Whoa, no, chaos mon amour. I saw the sticker on the streets of Paris. That reminds me of you. What's all this chaos mon amour, je dis, un, 2, 3, ça c'est très cool. What of this is this chaos mon amour? Just running into spontaneous food. What's all this chaos mon amour, je dis, un, 2, 3, ça c'est très cool. Oh no, chaos mon amour. Whoa, now, chaos mon amour. Whoa, now, chaos mon amour. Whoa, now, chaos mon amour. Reality is not what it seems. It's what my mind ready to be. What's all this chaos mon amour, je dis, un, 2, 3, c'est très cool. I'm walking over the jungle of concrete, just running into spontaneous wood. What's all this chaos mon amour, je dis, un, 2, 3, ça c'est très cool. Oh no, chaos mon amour. Oh no, chaos mon amour. Whoa, no, chaos mon amour. Chaos mon amour. Whoa, no, chaos mon amour. Je dis, encore une fois, chantez, dansez avec moi ce soir.
Damn.
Damn.
You rock that ukulele. Yeah,
I know, right? Not many people can say that.
It's hard to learn.
Awesome.
But actually, ukulele is easier. It's easier than the guitar.
Yeah.
But, it's a beautiful instrument. You can, just bring it to the beach or bring it wherever you're going.
Bring it to the beach. Yeah, pick up some broads playing the ukulele there over here,
Pretty small, and
yeah.
It's here, and just one finger. Here's one note, for example.
What's the tuning on that? Is it the first 4 of the regular guitar, or is it just a special?
No, it's another completed tune actually.
Yeah.
C A G E.
Oh wow.
Totally another tune, but it's great. You just need to learn, how to do, to put your fingers and all that. But other than that, it's pretty easy. It's easier than the guitar, and beautiful, sounding good.
That's awesome. It sounded great. And we are running close to the mark. We're going to take a break here. And we got a few more guests. Mr. Kowalsky, would you like to join us and hang around? I know it's late over there in Paris. Don't feel obligated either way.
Hey, thank you guys. Probably I'm just going to go and crash because tomorrow I have to do some stuff early in the morning. But hey, guys, it was great. Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
It was nice talking to you again. Real quick, tell us everyone again where they can get your music, where they can download, where they can find you. start spreading your all your links there.
For sure, Mr. Kowalsky, MrKowalsky, Mr. Kowalsky, in Facebook or Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, or MrKowalsky.com. You guys can find me there for sure. And yeah, listen to my music or my YouTube channel. I have some videos there that I filmed in Jamaica or Costa Rica, in France, all over the places.
And we'll post all your links in the bottom of the description of this video on YouTube and on iTunes as well. Mr. Kowalsky, thank you so much for joining us. When you get to Boston, let us know. We'd like to go party with you.
For sure. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Sleep well.
I hope to be back in Boston soon, so you guys can see a concert sometime soon.
Sounds good, brother.
Definitely.
All right. And Ryan, we have a few more guests going on tonight. Would you like to give a little sneak preview of who's going to be on?
Okay. So we have a sneak preview. A son of a living legend, a boxing living legend. Just got to give you a kind of a idea, and a film producer as well. So it's going to be a good show.
All right. And everyone watching out there on Facebook, we're going to take a little 5 to 10 minute break. We're going to go go to the bathroom, get some drinks. You're going to see nothing for about 10 minutes. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. And we will be back after that. Again, Mr. Kowalsky, thank you very much. And we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes on the Arty 84 show. All right, everybody, it's the Arty 84 show. Rejoining here, episode 145, second part of the show here. And we have 2 new guests. Ryan, would you like to introduce who we have on tonight?
Okay, so we have Ray Leonard Jr., successful entrepreneur, author, motivational speaker, and radio host. And we also have the producer of American Wisper, Howard Nash. American Wisper is now streaming on Amazon Prime. It is the true story of the unsolved murders of an upper-class African-American family.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Howard, you said you were down in Florida today, right?
Today I'm in Florida, yeah.
Florida.
And see the inclement weather just out the window, but
yes, I can see
it's
it.
seen worse.
Looks like it looks like a green screen back there. Like you're in the middle of some kind of ride at
It is a green screen. That's it. It's a green screen. Yeah, absolutely.
And Ray, where are you joining us from tonight?
Sunny Southern California, where it's a balmy 118 degrees right now where I live. Yeah. The governor came on today and said there's an emergency situation we have going on because it's too daggone hot. So
they say it's dry heat though, right?
Yeah, right. That's exactly what they say. Dry heat, you walk outside and start sweating.
You're fined for like watering your lawn and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have turf grass, so
There you go.
I would just get the artificial turf like they have at like the football stadiums. So you never have to maintain it. It always looks nice, and then you don't have to worry about it dying on you or anything like that. But you get the 2 extremes. We got the hot Florida and we got hot California. I gotta tell you, it's pretty damn hot up here in Boston the last few weeks. I mean, I don't know if it's 113 degrees like it is in Southern California, and I don't think we're as stormy as we are in Florida. But I gotta tell you, it gets pretty wild up here sometimes.
Well, you guys have the humidity too, so it's a little different. It stays hot all night long.
Oh yeah, you should feel the studio I'm in right now. I think it's 102 degrees in the studio right now. Between the lights and no air conditioner, it's like a sauna for the most part.
Well, you have great lighting.
Well, thank you. You know what? No one's ever complimented me on my lighting in my little second bedroom upstairs in my house. So even Adam, who has the light behind him but doesn't even use it. I just don't understand. So like
we make it too hot in here, man.
It's like a studio piece, like a show, like you're behind the actors guild, like you're in the scenes, right?
Yeah, man. There's the green screen. There's the light that goes on the green screen, and I don't want to stand in the heat. It's already damn hot. No AC gets out in here. So
yeah, listen, AC's overrated, right? That's how it goes. So Ray, we'll start with you. What are you? So you're an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, radio show host. What do you do radio on?
I do radio on Salem radios on 1170 AM The Answer in San Diego, as well as in Dallas on 660 AM in Dallas. So the radio show and the podcast that we do.
What kind of show do you do?
So the show is called It's Your Life, and basically we talk about everyday life stuff. So we have on, different guests and tackle topics. We try to have something that's kind of positive, because we got so much negative craziness going on right now. So everything that we do is talking about positive. It's something that the audience can actually take back with them. So we just had our last episode. We had Antonio Tarver, the Magic Man, the boxer, on, and then previously we had Sugar Rashad Evans and my father, Sugar Ray Leonard, and so we've had some pretty cool guests on, and it actually just started in March, right? And so I was on somebody else's radio show, and the producer, the general manager came down and said, "Would you like your own show?" I was like, "Well, damn, it's COVID. I'm not doing nothing." So, yeah. And I love it. I love it. It's been a great platform to do something positive. So I'm excited about it, and it's doing pretty well right now.
Yeah.
From what I gather, you definitely have things to do. I was reading your very impressive resume here. I mean, you're a co-founder of Launch Team Consulting. You're a co-owner of Universal Media Group. You have a book coming out called Life Success book coming out possibly at the end of fall. What do you do for fun? Like, I always look at people who have these things, and I'm like, I try to wrap my head around it. I'm just like, that's great, all these accomplishments, but it's like, what do you do to unwind?
Here's the catch. So I did every business or thing that I'm in is something that I love doing. So it makes it like it's not work. So I'm continuously, keeping busy. I never thought that I would be a motivational speaker, to be out, because I was a very shy kid. I never thought that I would be out talking in front of audiences. Now I'm speaking in front of thousands of people, and it's like, okay, I'm just talking to my best friend, which was cool to do that. But the the radio show just came about. I mean, you put yourself in good positions and have a positive energy, and it's what I do for fun is play golf.
There you go.
There it is.
Well, let me answer the question, because I was going into a tangent, but now let me tell you what I do for fun. I play golf. I swim. I coach football. I love my kids a stud at football, so I coach football. So it keeps me grounded.
Would you say motivational speaking is more your passion and what you really, really love to do?
So everything is around giving back and coaching to people. So whether it's from my company, from Launch Team Consulting, what we do is coach organizations and leaders about how to be better leaders and how to have better strategy within their organizations and companies. For when I coach the same way. I coach from a top strategy of saying, here, everybody needs to be involved. Everybody has their own role to play. And so you take on your own role, and then you know how you contribute to the team. And that's everything I do in life basically involves around coaching. So I guess if there's one thing that I say that I do, and everything else is ancillary, it just kind of floats around the orbit, it's just coaching. I love coaching.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Because I was reading an article that someone was talking to you, and you mentioned how you had witnessed your abuse of your father and your mother, and how. And I just got to say, to be able to, usually when you hear these kind of stories and, you witness something like that, you eventually, as you grow up, become an abuser. So to see somebody who actually isn't, and actually, goes out there and tries to better people and has seen things like that, that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I must say.
The one thing is with that, growing up, the way I grew up was I knew what I didn't want to be, or knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't actually know why I have so many jobs right now. That's because
yeah. That's great, though, man.
I knew what I didn't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were teenagers. We grew up we were born into extreme poverty, and it had immediate crazy success. And so when you got two teenage parents trying to figure it out, I mean, things are going to happen because you don't know how to do it. And especially in a world where you had the paparazzi in your face and everything. I mean, your whole world was a bubble of people looking at you, judging you on every single thing you did in your life. It makes it, tough to have your own space. And so I wanted to carve out and be independent and have my own space, and that's what I did.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up? I mean, your father also, worldwide known around the planet, during a time where boxing is, one of the top sports that, everyone can relate to. like you said, you started from poverty, and all of a sudden you had the success. Like, how did that? How did you wrap your mind around that? Like, especially being a young kid and seeing from one day to another, and all this, then the Olympic Games and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of publicity that comes along with your family, and I don't know as a child if I could even wrap my mind around it and even comprehend it.
If I didn't tell you I was jacked up from a mental standpoint for quite a while. My way of dealing with things was as an introvert. I would hold everything in as a kid because there was also our corporate backing that said, here, don't say anything stupid to make the family look bad, because we were the positive Black family in the sports business at that time. My father's image was like pristine. And so I'm coming from the hood of Palmer Park, Maryland, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting there having to talk with the Queen of England. And I'm like, no idea what you're talking about. You talk with an accent. Everything is crazy. I'm sitting there at dinner. They have 27 forks and spoons and knives, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I didn't want to, embarrass my family, so I tried, as good as I could to do what I did. But it was difficult. Living in a bubble, living in the spotlight. But I mean, there was also benefits. I got to travel around the world. I had an education that not many people can have in their lives. I mean, I talked to Nelson Mandela. I had, Muhammad Ali was my godfather, so I got to sit and talk to him and hang out with him. I mean, it was so many crazy things that I got to experience. So that kind of, I wouldn't say totally offset a lot of the negative stuff, because the trauma of watching abuse and watching your family go through drug and alcohol abuse and suicidal ideations, it can really put you in a bad place. But I was so focused on, I felt like I was actually the role model for my mother and father. Like I was going to be the one to show them to do it the right way, and that was my thought process. And it was crazy because so for you, I mean, the Boston guy, right? So I'm telling you how it was. I'm in middle school, and I'm playing a basketball game. Okay. And I foul and I go to the line, and it's at the end of the game, and this is 1987, right before my father fought Marvin Hagler, and the whole crowd starts yelling, "Hagler, Hagler!" I'm like, I'm just trying to make a free throw, dude. Like, what? Like, why? So yeah, so it was like that. But I take the experiences. Everybody has a beautiful life experience, and I look at it as a journey that each one of us has, and I accept it and I grow with it.
Did you ever want to get into boxing? Did you ever want to follow in your dad's footsteps and kind of just keep it going, or did you just kind of see it as it's something that's not for you? Because I know you like to coach, so if you grew up in an athletic household, I guess you can say your dad's a painter. It doesn't mean you're going to be a painter, right? Your dad's an astronaut doesn't mean you're going to be an astronaut. Your dad's a boxer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a boxer. But I feel like, did you see the bad parts of it and kind of turn you off a little bit, or did you just really had no interest in it?
No, this is actually what happened. So, there was no really push. I mean, I grew up in the gym, so I was in the gym around it all the time. And I trained, with the guys in the gym. So, I mean, from when I was like 7 years old, I was in there throwing punches. I had a couple of fights, a couple of amateur fights, and all went well. I mean, I won every single fight. But I just didn't have the passion for it. I just didn't have the passion for it. My grandfather was a boxer in the Navy. My uncle was the number 2 ranked welterweight in the world, and then my father was pretty decent. But I just never had the same passion for it I played football and ran track and field, and that was more of the team sport kind of was my thing. But what really made me not want to box is came back from, I was about 16 years old, and I was feeling myself. I was getting a little bigger and stronger, and I decided to challenge my father to a fight. And we went down the basement, and
that sounds legit. Let's go to the basement and fight. That sounds like it's going to end well.
he said, you do know what I do for a living, right? I said, yeah, I know the moves. I'm not going to fall for this BS right here, right? And then we get down there, and I'm swinging punches, and I'm missing everything I throw because he just got the way real quick. And then all of a sudden, he just punches me in my stomach, and I didn't really feel it. But You know, it takes your brain a little while to catch up with your body sometimes. It took like 5 seconds and my brain caught up with my body. I went down and I took off my boxing gloves, and that was the end of my boxing career.
You know what? And your dad did the right thing because he wasn't gonna baby you. He was gonna be, you want to box?
Oh no, he for real.
Yeah, let's do it. Like, yeah, it's one way you learn if you like it. I mean, when I say the word, when I say boxed, I went, around with a guy at a gym, and it is the most exhausting thing I ever done in my life because you're not just your legs, your arms, your mind. You're trying to outsmart the other person, but you're trying to figure out what they're gonna do too, and you're kind of going back. And then you're looking at the clock and you're praying that the seconds go faster because you're just sitting there and you take a hit and it's like you said, by the time you realize you got the hit, the other one's coming from the other side. It's like, geez, I mean, I don't know how people box. I just don't.
It's totally counterintuitive when you start to think about it too, because the biggest thing you think about when you get into a fight, when you get into the ring, you're like, okay, I need to use my aggression. But your aggression, it tenses your body up and burns your energy. And so you lose oxygen while you're doing it and you're tense. Mm-hmm. So you need to be relaxed. So it's called relaxed aggression. So you need to be relaxed and be able to breathe. And when you hear boxers training, you'll hear them boxing like every time they throw a punch because it's pushing that negative, that CO2 out of their body. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I did a celebrity boxing match about 10 years ago because I said, okay, I can still do this. And I got into the ring and I couldn't breathe. I mean, I was struggling. I'm like, God dang, this is tough.
Damn. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know. The professional athlete style of living and the whole. We just had a musician on before you guys, and an athlete and a musician, they have similar lifestyles, which is they're traveling. Everyone knows who they are. Did you find it difficult when you'd go out with your dad to you just go into the store, and I'm sure he was stopped by people and the privacy bubble seemed to be must shrink a little bit, right? Like, how do you deal with that?
Man, so in the 80s and, and even into the 90s, it was insane. Because we really couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed. I mean, you could go and start off, but then when one person recognizes and the rest of the crowd starts to come, you get mobbed in the mall or get mobbed everywhere. So I had a lot of death threats on my life from different organizations trying to take me out back then. And so my father got me a bodyguard, so I had to walk around with this 6'6", 350-pound bodyguard for most of my junior high and high school life. Wow. And so you can't be incognito with this big guy around you first and foremost.
Right.
But I mean, the same thing that we talk about that, it's stressful to have that. It's scary when you have people just swarm you, and maybe we've had times when it was just two or three of us, and the whole crowd just starts to swarm in the mall or in the in the sports arena or somewhere. And it's scary because you have no idea whether someone's going to try to stab you or whatever's going to go on. But most people are just it's admiration. So it was a whole different game to deal with. And I learned how to be patient. I learned how to to relax in every situation. So I think it actually helped me in sports when I played football. My first high school football game I played in, I took the opening kickoff back 95 yards for a touchdown. And it was because I wasn't scared. I was like, I've been through enough scary situations. This is not fearful to me. I'm just going to just do what I do.
And as a kid, you didn't choose this lifestyle, right? And I'm sure your father didn't make a goal to be a professional boxer for the fame. He did it because it's something he enjoyed and he was very, very skilled at. And the fame comes with that. So it's not like you're a Kardashian taking pictures on Instagram trying to sell a skirt or something like that, where your intention is to get people's attention to look at it. I mean, you're just a guy growing up in Maryland, and your dad was a really, really good boxer, and that what comes of that comes of that. And I feel like that would be the most frustrating thing is you and your dad just can't go out, or your family just can't go out, grab a dinner somewhere, just go to the store real quick, go to a ball game without a mob of people kind of harassing you. And maybe when you're younger, I don't know, does it become a norm to you, or, you kind of just be numb to it? And then basically what I'm trying to say is that for you and your dad was probably completely different because you grew up with it and he was introduced to it. So,
right.
to wrap my mind around that. It's a I personally can't. I don't know about you guys, but it's
Yeah.
a very trying thing, you know.
I hadn't lived any other life, so that was all that I knew. And so for me, that was my norm, you know. And as nerve wracking as it was, it was all that I knew. So I said, maybe everybody else is going through this. And then my buddy's like, nah, we don't. This don't happen the same way with us. Yeah, I mean, I figured that out. I figured that out early. But yeah, my father, it wasn't his goal to actually be a boxer or a professional, a champion when he was younger. He got introduced to boxing by his brother. And when he was 9 years old, he got punched in the face at the gym and quit. And then he came back a few years later and started doing it. He's like, you know what, I can be pretty good at this, because he wasn't like super athletically inclined. So, I mean, a lot of other in our family are better athletes, but to have the heart and desire to want to work and try to be the best, he was second to none in that. And so that was one of the great traits that we learned, and I try to teach my kids is, you don't have to be the top talent in this, but if you work hard for someone else, you can be better at that skill set than you were. Because he wanted to go to the University of Maryland after he won the Olympic gold medal. He was so nervous about fighters being taken advantage of, and coming back and putting your life on the line to box, and it ended up broke when you're all said and done. So the only reason why he became a professional fighter was because my grandfather was sick with spinal meningitis and tuberculosis in the hospital, and he had to earn money. So they said, how can you earn money? He said, if you turn pro right now and you have a fight, you can pay for your father's bills. Wow. So that's what happened.
Jesus, that's amazing. And just think, I mean, you go to, you're an Olympic athlete, you're a gold medal champion, and then you come back and you just want to live your life. But I mean, hey, if you can make money at it, right? I mean, it's not a bad way to do it, I guess. I mean, box is back. That's another thing. Like nowadays, boxing's not what it used to be, and it really should be, because it's one of the great things, sporting events that people look forward to all, for months. When they announce a ticket, and they're like, this is who's going to be boxing and everything. I remember as a kid,
it's not promoted the way it was.
It isn't. No.
Yeah, it's not.
I remember when Tyson and Holyfield, when I was a kid, I was 6 years old, and the Tyson and Holyfield, the big guys, on top. And I remember the anticipation for months, it's the Showtime HBO ticket, and you get all excited to watch it. You stay up late till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and and it's gonna last 30 seconds or it's gonna last 45 minutes. You don't know. It's just the anticipation, and I feel like it's such a great sport, and it's such a athletic challenge that it's just not promoted anymore. And I don't understand why. Is it the UFC has taken it over? How do you feel about the UFC? I mean, it's obviously not boxing, but it's the same physical kind of competition,
Yeah, I love the UFC, and I think that if it was more prevalent when I was younger, that's probably what I would be in right now, because I'm a full mixed martial arts combat guy. Studying different forms of combat, and so that's what I would enjoy, from wrestling to Muay Thai and to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I mean, I would have probably been doing that right now myself. But I think the biggest thing with boxing is that it became such a major box office draw that it was pricing people out. Mm-hmm. You couldn't see your fighters or the guys you follow from your neighborhood unless you paid pay-per-view, and they may not have had a name for pay-per-view. You didn't have it on regular TV anymore. Yeah. And the amateur level, I think, has gone down tremendously. Like, it used to be the Police Athletic League. It used to be the YMCA League. You used to have the Golden Gloves that was prominent, that you can follow, the guys' careers, Pan Am Games to the Olympics, and you follow a guy career as he went up. So you built the fan base, you built the following. But nowadays, like, I don't see any kind of amateurism in boxing, and that there's no way to see it or watch it. So if you don't have that filter or that consistent group that you're saying, okay, here, this might be the next guy I can follow, then you just follow old guys. You're gonna watch Tyson and Roy Jones again.
Yeah. You watch Tyson until he's 80 years old. He's still going to be putting on a ticket. It was like Tyson's the big thing. Every decade he's going to come back and fight someone. People are going to watch it because he was probably the guy that everyone could relate to, even if you didn't know what boxing or know any boxer familiar with the sport is. If you heard Mike Tyson, you were like, yeah, I know Mike Tyson. That guy's out of his mind.
Yeah, I mean, like he's like a car wreck. You can't turn away. I love Mike. I've known Mike since he started. Yeah, and I talked to him. I'm supposed to go up to his training camp next week and see him. But the turnaround that guy has had, man, from his life, of all the things that he's gone through, jeez. It's boxing is a tough life. I mean, for some reason, like you watch boxers' lives, I don't know whether it's terminal to boxers that they just create this kind of drama and havoc around themselves, or it's just because you're in a combat sport that you end up in a space. But yeah, I think there's some good young fighters that are coming up too. I mean, you have Errol Spence, who's a dog. You have Mikey Garcia. You got Keith Thurman. You have some guys that are coming up, but they just don't get the same recognition anymore. So you can't really pay attention to. You don't know the background story.
A lot of that behavior, though, you just kind of hinted at, could be from, I mean, if football players are getting, what do they call it, CTE, then I'm sure boxers who constantly get hit in the head, probably there's something going on there,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know why they haven't done a CTE study on boxers because,
I guess it can only be done post-mortem, supposedly, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before it can be done.
There's got to be a relation. I mean, you're getting 100-mile-per-hour punches to the head, directly. These are football play, maybe 1 or 2 hits a game, are direct impact. But I mean, you're in a boxing ring. Your job is to prevent the other guy from knocking you out, essentially. And that's the game. Who can knock the other person out? And I'm surprised there has been more studies on that. And I don't know, maybe could that be a reason why kids aren't getting into it these days because of health reasons?
I think you're right on that. I think that's maybe a big part of it. That I know the moms just don't want to see kids getting hit in the head. I mean, boxing has always historically been a poor man's sport. Like you really didn't see someone coming from a ton of wealth that went into boxing. And so boxing had a low barrier entry. If you could fight, if you can defend yourself, you were okay. But the biggest thing is boxing doesn't have a union. Boxing doesn't have any kind of group that says, okay, we're going to take care of these guys and girls that are coming out to fight. So every state has their own governing body, and so there is no representation. And it's a shame that the community hasn't come together to do something to this point. There's been some efforts, but there's so much money just on the backside and keeping it like Fight Club that makes it that way.
It's crazy. Now, if a kid came up to you, okay, you're an inspirational speaker, right? You motivate people, and they said to you, "I really want to be a boxer." Would you say it's a good thing to do, or would you say, "I've seen the dark side of it, and maybe this is something you shouldn't get involved in"?
That's an interesting question, because I would never direct someone from their dream or something that they're passionate about. There's inherent risk in everything you do, because my mother didn't want me to play football. She was like, you're going to get hit in the head, you can get knocked out, that's going to happen. But it was, kind of my mentality that I needed that contact. I needed to be involved, and that was probably a way for me to get my aggression out, as my anger as a young person. But, to inspire someone, I can't, I hate that the fact they call me a motivational speaker, because I can't motivate you to do anything. I can inspire you to have your own. But for a young person, I give them the pros and cons, and if you can weigh the risks and say, here, I'm willing to take these risks. And just like when you join the military, there's a chance that you may be on the front line. You may have a chance to give your life. And if you're willing to do that and willing to sacrifice it for your dream, then I'm gonna encourage you, but I'm also gonna give you the whatever I know, or people, if I can direct you to someone that may know better than I do, to give you all the information to make an informed decision, then yeah, I'm gonna do that.
That's exactly what I would tell my son if he would want to do anything. Yeah, you weigh the pros and the cons, and you say, do what you want to do, but this is what you're going to get involved in. That's the best way to do it. You got to make people let people make decisions on their own. And because, like you said, your mom didn't want you to play football. There's plenty of, I'm sure Tom Brady's mom didn't want him playing football. And look at Tom Brady. You know,
she's happy about that now. I'm sure she's happy about that decision now.
Exactly. So,
hey Howard, are you a fan of boxing? I noticed you do have a producer credit for a boxing movie for Tiger.
Yeah, sure.
So
That was
yeah, feel free to talk, man.
yeah,
Jump
film
in.
before
You're
my current
over
one. Film before my current one. It was a boxing film called Tiger, starring Mickey Rourke. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Mickey Rourke's into boxing. And it's based on a true story of an Indian American, a Sikh boxer who's banned from the sport for refusing to shave. They needed a reason to get rid of him, so they come up with a rule that you can't fight, with a beard, even though beards are okay in the heavyweight class. They said this is different. So the film is about two battles, one in the court, the other in the ring. And the kid had to go, real far, that was in the newspapers at the time that it happened, to try to reinstate his ability to fight. And it was the classic story, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It took him out for so long that when he finally came back, he didn't live up to the potential that he had before they removed him and took away his, ability to fight. But yeah, it's really a hero story because he didn't let himself get pushed around or intimidated. So and Mickey Rourke plays the trainer to his fight character. So.
I was wondering whether you said let Mickey Rourke fight, because I know he likes to get into the ring. He still thinks he has it.
Yeah, apparently, he gets in with a couple of Russians every now and then. But here he was just a trainer, and he did a good job, and it's a great film, and always good. You can't make this stuff up when you do a true story. So the film that I did after that, which is American Wisper, is a true story of an African-American entrepreneur, actually, who was wealthy, owned bars and restaurants in Harlem, who came home one night and found his family shot to death in his house in New Jersey, as mentioned, New Jersey. And the film is unsolved, and part of the reason for the movie is to try and reopen the case. It's playing on Tubi TV and Amazon, a couple of other platforms. It's won about 11 or 12 festival awards. And we're getting like 6,000 to 7,000 views per day, not per week, per day on the film. But believe it or not, even with that kind of number, it is still not in the mainstream. It's not yet in the mainstream. Yeah. So we're trying to push, for the views, engagements, hopefully a watch party here and there to try to get those numbers up so that the mainstream.
What's the name of the film?
It's called American Wisper.
American Wisper.
No H in Whisper. American Wisper. And with a little engine that could.
I am always curious though, because like what you were just saying about Tiger, and even this movie, it's based on a true story. You can't make this kind of stuff up, but in a ways. You can. Usually when it comes to based on true stories, I always feel a little cautious about watching them because obviously, yes, the core story is true, but sometimes things are embellished for political reasons, for people to watch, it's for entertainment purposes. So I'm always like a little bit cautious. Like how much would you say percentage-wise of this film is like right on point, and how much of it would you say is like, we had to whatever, kind of dial this up a little bit for entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, for American Whisper, it's a good rate of like 75-80%.
That's
and
good.
And we did change the name from the original character because we wanted to kind of have that kind of creative license. But it is funny to mention, and a large part of it is true. Many years ago, there was a film that was made called 29th Street with Danny Aiello about the kid who won the first $1 million lottery in New York State. And it was, emblazoned on the film based on a true story. And it was only after, it was a great movie, but I looked it up. The guy who the film was based on didn't win the lottery.
Oh, that's a flat out lie. Not even an exaggeration, a flat out lie.
Runner up, that's the word.
Wow.
He was a runner up. And,
all right.
And yeah, and they didn't say inspired by a true story, or anything like that. It was based on a true story. They might as well have said true story. But yeah, the guy didn't actually win the lottery. So it was kind of cute.
So that's kind of
I think we did a much better job.
So that was gonna be my next question. How much fact checking goes into making a movie based on a real life? Like you have a nice story. The story sounds good, and I'm sure there's interviews involved, and you're talking to people, you're reading articles, or you're just getting documents. You're just kind of building a storyline and figuring out how you're gonna make this into a movie. But like you said, you could turn into something where the guy never actually won the lottery. And there's a lot of stories out there. Like you could actually, people, stories get passed on, for years, and then you turn out it never really happened. It was just kind of an urban legend, or
I mean, who knows? I mean, it wasn't just the runner-up. I think he was one of 6 runner-ups. Yeah, and maybe he had the funniest, interesting story. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, I know Bloodsport is supposedly a true story. Bloodsport is like the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but it turns out it's complete bullshit. Like none of it's true. Like the secret Kumite where he goes off to fight and like fight to the death tournament. Like it all turned out to be bullshit.
But that's a real tournament though. Like actually,
no.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I did a video on it. It's all bullshit.
No. It's a real tournament. It's
but it's not like that.
It's nothing like that. But like it is a real tournament. Like Jerry Bell, who used to be in the Daz band, he actually won like that tournament. Like
Frank Dukes
is the Daz band guy.
Yeah.
Tournament.
He's a mixed martial artist like Jerry Bell. Yep.
But Frank Dukes, no, he's full of shit.
I'm actually entering in that tournament next week, so I have to wear a mask though because of COVID. So.
Wow. You can fight in my basement. That's where you used to fight in my basement. That was like Kumite. So
like fight them. What a raised basement.
Whisper. The more views, more engagements, we get. Obviously, the closer we get to hopefully breaking out into the mainstream. So that's why we want to try to get the word out. The main focus is really trying to reopen the case because it's never solved. You never found out who did it.
That's interesting. And I wonder, with the way the world is these days, when you do a movie like that and because you tell a story that maybe many people don't know or never heard of before. So you're introducing a large population to this, and people love true crime. That's like one of the top podcasts out there. They love hearing these stories. And you come to find out like later on, because of this movie, you've motivated people to kind of want to do their own investigations or like reopen the case or the miracle of DNA these days and stuff like this. And that sounds like a pretty impressive thing if a movie that you make based on a true story can turn around and solve a crime, essentially give it the extra kick in the ass that it needed, that whether or not for whatever reason the police wanted to stop investigating or whatnot. I think that's pretty impressive, and we've seen it happen before. I mean, maybe the Tiger King lady, maybe she really did kill her husband, right? But we would have never known, right? We never knew who Carol Baskin was, right? But all of a sudden, someone's saying that she killed her body and killed her husband and fed it to tigers. Well, now that area of that Florida town is investigating. I mean, it just takes something as little as that, and I'm very fascinated by true crime. I listen to a lot of those podcasts, and when you hear the endings where they don't know who did it, people start Googling, people start doing their own, investigation work, right?
It's a sleuth. That's what it's called.
Yeah. So instead of having one guy being the detective, now you have, a few thousand people going out there on the internet trying to figure out some information and sharing it, and miracle of technology these days. You could find information very easily and kind of pinpoint stuff, but it's amazing. And I guess I want to ask you is when you do a movie that's based on a true story, what's the biggest challenge in taking a true story and converting it into a, you know, condensed 90-minute film, if you will, you know, or whatever length that you plan on having?
It's really no more, no less than, say, any other film. You're dealing with the same logistics, but I would say it's after it's finished and it's out there and people are seeing it, you're going to deal with a lot more questions and inquiries than probably you would with a fictional film. Okay. So people, like you said, mostly into true crime. The avalanche starts, and you really, if you're going to do something about true crime, you're going to have to pay attention to the websites and Facebook, because there's going to be an onslaught of questions that are coming in. So that's unique, I guess, to doing a true story or a true crime story, that you're going to get an avalanche of questions. People want to know, is this the right way? Did this really happen? Did that really happen? You know, and in all cases, you have to respond and answer diplomatically, you know, truthfully, and where we took creative license, no problem, you know, letting them know, because the overriding, you know, goal here is to try to get the case reopened. We're in touch with the prosecutor's office in New Jersey, in that county, and it's all about the numbers. If the numbers come up, I think that's going to, you know, correlate to their how impressed they are with, you know, the focus and the spotlight on them to reopen the case.
I have a question.
Sure.
So Howard, I wanted to get your thought process, because from film to now, you see a lot more limited series. Are you seeing that as a thing that's happening now, more limited series than full-length films?
Well, for you know, established television, it's something that I'm actually proposing now, and on a separate project, I got the approval with my team to do a series for Discovery Network, and it's going to be a limited series. But right now, it's kind of untested as far as producing something independently in terms of a series, putting it on the platforms. I'm a little bit skittish about trying something like that. I'd rather just do features and get it out there and promote it, push it. As far as anywhere else, I think, you know, you got to go to you know, the big boys who, you know, control the narrative, Netflix, you know, people like that, HBO. So to that end, that's not impossible. It's something that I aspire to do, and I am doing it right now. But it's not something that I think could work as well, you know, on the independent platforms. You need that kind of muscle behind you that only, you know, Netflix or HBO can provide.
So when you take a true story and you want to turn into the movie, obviously you have to go to the fundamentals of movie making, right? So you need a plot, you need character development, you need to pretty much put everything together. So when you're doing a fictional movie, essentially there's a conclusion to the movie that wraps up one way or another, whether it's good or not. But in this case, there is no conclusion really. It's just kind of an open-ended. And do you feel that's more of a challenge to kind of end a film that's opened? Because we're all used to watching movies that's kind of a circle. You start in the beginning and you get to an ending and you leave saying, all right, well, that's how it concluded. Or they leave you with a vague ending for you to interpret how you think the, you know, moment ended. For example, the end of like The Sopranos, right? Goes black. We don't know what happened. So,
that's an excellent question, and there are two ways basically that we saw, you know, to move this concept. And the direction we went in is that there were a lot of chat rooms going on between retired cops who had worked on the case and who were giving their theories. And you kind of went in the direction of what these cops were talking about, why, and here's the reason why we think ballistics, etc., why this went down the way it did. And we went in that direction. The second way is, you know, you could leave it open-ended, And when that happens, then, and that was the original screenplay for the story, it's really about the person who was affected by it, the father who came home and discovered his family, murdered, how he moves on, and the burden of never knowing who committed the crime, who perpetrated the crime. And if you make it meaningful, it can work. It can be fine. But we went in the direction of the majority opinions of like 6 or 7 cops who were debating it in the chat room.
Damn.
You don't know if that's the way it went down, but that's the whole reason for the case.
How much contact did you have with, like, let's say the investigators that were part of this case? I'm sure you worked with them, obviously, but I'm always curious to know. Like, I'm sure you had to really, sit down with them and have a good conversation.
I'm actually having more now than I had when we were developing the film, because there was enough out there on the internet where I didn't really need to speak to them. It was all there. It was just laid out. I just needed to know where to find it. And now that it's out there, I'm speaking to at least 3 people connected to the case, to the prosecutor's office, including, some politicians that I don't think I needed to really speak to them while we were developing the project, but I'm speaking to them now. They're, and it's a process, and you just got to try to get it out there. And again, what really matters to them is when I tell them that 800,000 people have seen the trailer on Facebook, and it's translating to the amount of people who are watching the entire film. That gets their attention.
So are you getting any negative feedback? Like, are people like saying, like, no, leave it alone?
It's a good point. The only thing in that regard are the people who lived in the neighborhood, who lived on the block, who lived in that area, who experienced it. They are the ones who, on Facebook and on social media, we hear from them, and it's kind of curious that they leave really good reviews, but they give the film like 1 star. and how do you do that?
Yeah.
They're allowed. Let me tell you right now, they're allowed. But they give like a good review. Everything about it was meaningful and really affected them, obviously, because they went through it. How you doing? This is Fabio. And they went through it. And but of course, since it really affected them, they're not going to give it 3 stars. They gave it a 1.
Do you have any fear that, reopening this case essentially via film will, the person who's behind it, who committed the crime, do you fear that, or do anyone working on the film fear that this could lead to a person, maybe doing another crime, or maybe, taken personally and maybe coming after anyone on the film? Does that ever cross your mind? Or
I never thought about that before, but now that you've mentioned it,
I don't mean
I have to pull it off the platform.
I have to be worried about this guy.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, there were some very prominent, and they're featured in the film under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
Prominent, drug lords and criminals who were under suspicion. And one of the things that he was kind of infamous for, the father, was that he would always consistently throw drug dealers out of the bars that he worked in. If they came in and they tried to deal, he would sometimes forcibly have them thrown out. And they would all be yelling as they're being thrown out, and come back, we're going to get you. And so part of the theory is that one of them made good on their promise, and either hit the family to send them a message, or they came over for him and he wasn't home, so they just got whoever was there. And
wow.
But no, not too much, because it was such a long time ago.
I always like when that Martin Scorsese does like mob films, and he kind of goes over things that happened, and I always think in the back of my mind is, maybe there's some people who are involved in these crimes that really don't want this news out there. Some of the details and stuff, and I guess any, true story that you would make a movie out of, I guess that's something in the back of everyone's mind, probably, saying, hey, listen, that we're shaking the bear, we're kind of bringing something back to light that everyone forgot about,
But if they're smart enough to get away with it that long, and they're smart enough not to do anything to that person because it might lead to them getting caught. Maybe
That's a very good point.
That's what I think. That's what you're hoping, Howard.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping, and at the same time, like a lot of disciplines in our universe, you go into that kind of discipline to kind of not shy away in the first place. While you're going through these things, to make a splash, to make a difference, and you don't think about the things that you mentioned. What if? Because I don't know. That's the reason you're committed to what it is that you do. That's the reason you're in the first place, is to get on the radar. And so I didn't think of it as that much at all. Plus, like you said, I doubt if they're going to really, if Nicky Barnes is really going to come back and do.
Hey, no names, Howard.
That's the nickname for my cat.
Based on. Based on.
Based on.
Too much that happened in my story for you to see. Like, yeah, this is
right. Yeah. This is true, but it was a nickname anyway. So.
Yeah. Damn. Well, I think it's great. I think I think a lot of unsolved cases out there that need to be brought up, and I think this is one that it's nice to see. I watched the trailer. I enjoyed it. I think that numbers don't lie. Everyone who's watching it will probably agree with me. And like you said, people giving it high reviews, but they're giving you 1 star. It's because they like it, but they don't want anyone to know they like it. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
And for those of you watching right now, it's American Wisper on Facebook. Like the page, American Wisper.
Awesome.
No H in Whisper.
Whenever I see that, because I've seen that before, people write good review and then give like a 1 star, and I'm like, maybe they're just really stupid and they think 1 star means good and 5 means bad.
No, Adam. Yes, my mom. No, my mother.
There we go.
So my mother, Adam's my mom. She's a very interesting lady. She actually, one of her friends' companies, went on to Facebook, left a great review, and then gave it 1 star because she thought number 1 was the best. So and now my mom's in her 60s. A lot of baby boomers out there who may think this. So that is a good possibility, and so anything is possible.
We are in 2020 too. So everything is backwards in 2020. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe some of those service companies will think twice about asking for your opinion and for a survey. If you send them an underlying message with a lot of 1s and 2s. Oh, sorry, I thought that was positive.
I thought your stuff was great. Then why did you give me 1 star? Yeah, because I thought 1's good. Well, 1's better than 5.
Yeah, there you go.
Howard, you've spoken on there being a fair amount of racism when it comes to smaller independent films with African American leads.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, 2 things. The smaller platforms weren't accepting films because there were no names in it. But you get these, you get what do you call these telegraphed, kind of critiques. But even when I was selling the project, here's where no names come in. When I was pitching it and I went out to New York and California, I was told by some very, very prominent to make the family white because it would be more marketable. And very, very glad that I didn't listen to it. But yeah, you get that. You get that as, sometimes directly, sometimes in code, but you get it. And, that's, at least, I couldn't even conceive of doing something like that because it just turns everything else on its head. But yeah, they said family white because it's marketable. Names I will not throw out, but you would know if I had said them. And then yeah, there were platforms who didn't accept the film. And even now, when we're doing social media on Facebook, Twitter, just say some really crazy stuff. And, but it's good that, you know, you're allowed to kind of boot them off. And what your responsibility becomes when you do film, any kind of film like this, is to monitor your sites and your pages obsessively. When you catch someone, a hater, coming on and doing something, you know, and they're doing it everywhere, you know, even, you know, whether it's my site or, you know, BLM, they just, you know, plop themselves in. It's kind of your responsibility to obsessively look at that page every day, every few hours, find them, knock them out, get rid of them, report them if you can. So
how'd that make you feel to try to, I mean, if you're talking about, you're trying to tell a story, as an artist, as a filmmaker, you're trying to tell a story, and you know, you have some sort of creative license with it, you know, to make it, like you said, a lot of the ones that say based on a true story have a little bit of creative license with it. But when you come in, you're trying to tell a story that actually has some meaning to it, that, you know, folks are telling you to change the whole story, change this whole story. Like, that sounds crazy as hell to me.
Yeah, it's disorienting because, you know, I won't lie about it. You respect the people that you're sitting down with, especially if they've got some, you know, mojo attached to them, you know, and then you hear them saying this stuff. It's like you keep up the appearance of, you know, the courtesy and the respect, but, you know, it's kind of disorienting that, you know, I'm still very idealistic in everything that I do, and when you're hearing this stuff coming back, you know, not, you know, don't change it from a pistol to a rifle, but just to make the family white. It's like, what? And, you know, how did you get to where you are saying stuff like this? Yeah. But, you know, you just smile and you move on.
I feel like the credibility disappears as well because you're trying to make this as authentic as possible and trying to put all the facts out there. So
in our mind, in my mind, absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say that majority of people hopefully would agree with you in saying, yeah, no, we got to make this the way it's supposed to be. This is the story, and this is how it's supposed to be, because you're not helping any case. You're not making, a Disney movie out of this, essentially, right? By changing the things around to make it, for the, a particular group of people to enjoy. You're basically telling a story, and it should be as factual as possible. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to figure out what the hell happened and to tell a story that people have forgotten about. And I think it's any way of representing that story any other way than, the facts is just absolutely disrespectful. And I'm glad you decided you do the right thing. I mean, that's the way you got to do it. You're a creator, you're an artist, and you want to tell a story, and fuck everyone else at the end of the day, right? I don't know.
Well, it's tough to turn down that Hollywood money too. So I mean, that shows the character. Which it's like
that's balls right there. That's just waving your balls.
Right. I'm gonna give you this much money, and you tell the story the way we want you to tell it, or you do it as your artistic side and say, here, now you tell it like this. Like a lot of people like, I'm gonna go and take that paper.
And we lost him. I think we said something. I mean, he's like, damn, I should have took that money.
Oh shit!
My
he
bad.
did say.
My bad.
He's like,
no, remember he said that they were having storms. Remember? So.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Well, I wanted him to plug his movie real quick, but Ryan, you have the information on it real quick, right? We can get everyone.
Check out American Wisper. It's on Amazon Prime. Ray, I had a question for you about your book, Life Success Playbook, and what are some of the gems that you drop in there? Can you share a couple of them?
So this has been a passion project for me for a long time. I've been saying I'm gonna write a book for years and years and years. And when we got into the whole situation with the COVID-19 and quarantine, I had to spend an enormous amount of time with my children. And I always wanted to give them a guide because I had written something on a blog that said, to my kids about what it was like growing up and some of the challenges I have to try to give them something to besides my words, something that sticks with them forever that they can listen to. And when we started talking, they had so many fears about what was happening. They were watching the news, they were watching, all these different things that was driving them crazy. And I said, how do I actually have a conversation? How do I help someone else? Like I said, I always love to coach. How do I help someone else have a conversation with their kids so we can raise a healthy generation of kids or young people that are not afraid to talk and tell people how they feel? Because when I was growing up, like, you couldn't say, no, I'm scared or I have some issue going on. It was taboo to talk about being depressed in the Black community. And so I wanted to provide a tool to young people and to parents that they can walk through, whether it's fear, whether it's, how do I increase my self-esteem? How do I become a good leader? All these different things that I've learned from my path that I was blessed to have from being able to travel all over the world. I wanted to put it in a form that made sense. And so it's not just a regular book, it's a workbook. So each section has areas where the kids and parents can write down notes. And so as they go through it and deal with some of the issues that we're talking about, from stress to suicidal ideations, all these different things that we never talk about with our children because they'll figure it out, or the teachers will deal with it. We are the teachers now. We're at home with our kids for the most part. So I wanted to give a tool to help the parents to have open conversations, because I think that's the key to everything within our communities, within our lives, is be able to have open and honest communication. And we see more of the areas that we can help each other rather than going to our corners and saying that this is now a space where we shouldn't be at. And that's why I did it. I'm down to my last. I have a bunch of celebrities that have contributed to it, just to give their stories. And so, when you're a kid, you don't feel alone. If one of your biggest heroes said, okay, I went through this too, maybe it opens you up to have this conversation with your parents about sexuality. About everything. So that's what it is. The Survival Playbook is meant to be a tool to go through every single year of the generations that the kids and the parents are going through, and hopefully, give an easier way for us to talk and provide a way to success.
Cool. Sounds awesome. And like what you said, now you have the teacher. That's the way we live for the next few whole months.
Oh God, man! I have so much more respect for teachers right now.
Yeah, you're telling me. Oh man.
You guys didn't sign up for that shit. I'm telling you, that's why you didn't become a teacher, because
I don't have the patience for it. Getting up every single morning.
Yeah.
My kids just started this past week. I have 4 kids, and so they just started this past week. My oldest, she's already graduated. She's doing her own thing, but it's a weird world to be. They come down and we're blessed to be able to have a space where they can go to different areas. But I talked to some of my friends and their kids, and they're in an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, and the kid, they have to be there with their kids and go through this. And so, it's not just stress on the kids, it's stress on the parents, it's stress, in every single place. And so, I salute everyone that's going through and trying to make it happen right now.
God bless everyone. Anyone who has to become a teacher, God bless you, because it's a trying profession, and to have to now do it, you didn't choose to do it. It's one thing of being a parent, but then you send your kids off, and then you get that break. Now you're a parent, a teacher, now you're everything. It's like you don't get that. It's incredible. Luckily, my kid's only 8.5 months old, so I don't have to teach her. But I could only imagine what you guys are going through.
Oh shit! Oh yeah. You're gonna have it's going to come, because I'm surprised that we're having this meeting and having this interview, and that I didn't have a dog barking or a kid come down and ask me where some cereal is. So
Ryan, every once in a while, one of his kids is a cameo. He pops in real quick. You hear my dog bark once in a while, but damn. Well, Ray, we're running close to the time, but I just want to thank you for coming on. It was awesome talking to you.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Real quick, do you want to?
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a good way to spend the evening.
Hell yeah, man. And real quick, do you just want to plug how can people get a hold of you, and any website or anything else you get going on?
Yeah, so on every social media platform, just about, besides the new young ones like Snapchat and stuff, I don't have that. But on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, everything is at Ray Leonard Jr. My website is rayleonardjr.com. I try to make it easy. But yeah, check it out and look for the book coming up, Life Survival Playbook, coming out pretty soon. So we'll be probably September, October should be the release of the book.
Awesome. And we had Howard Nash on, and apparently the Florida weather got the best of him, but American Wisper with no H. Check it out on Facebook, on Amazon, leave a review, watch it, and some of his other work as well. It's pretty impressive, and hopefully we can figure out what the hell happened. I mean, that's the only thing you can wish for at the end of the day, right? You know, so entertainment, but also educational. So, you know, feel the facts in. But that's awesome. Ryan, what are you plugging these days?
Oh man, definitely go on the Packy site and check out my recent interview with the Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. We talk about, like, you know, his love for animals, you know, his faithful bloodhound, Junie, and, you know, it was a pretty great interview.
Bam. All right. Mr. Mallett, what's going on in the world of Mallett?
You can always find me here every Wednesday, Arty, and obviously my YouTube channel, The Whirlwind Potato, where I talk about movies, and check out thepacky.com.
There you go. And check out the ID84 show, Instagram, Spotify, Intune, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast.
Nice to meet you, Ray. It really was.
Great,
Nice to meet
great talking to you. Thank you for taking the time out for us.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool. And everyone listening out there, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.